Welcome back to Ben's Garage. Now, I've already done this video once. The brand new generator, something's not right with it. It's never run right since we've had it. I bought it off Amazon, it has got a guarantee, but it's like one of those things, they're just gonna want it sending back or something, and it's because it weighs nearly 50 kilos, this bloody thing, 40 odd kilos or something. Anyway, there can't be a lot wrong with it. So I've had the carburetor off a couple of times. I've already videoed this once. I didn't get it running properly, but I got it all videoed, all edited, and then the Mac, which is my main computer, the iMac, decided to throw a wobbly, and now I can't get the footage off the computer. So I'm waiting for some parts for the Mac, which is a bit daunting. Take the screen off the Mac and get that fixed. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do. So in the meantime, I fitted a new spark plug in GK. We can get it running. We use some of this, start your bastard. But it will only run on full choke. So that's saying to me that there's not enough fuel getting into the engine. So I'm going to take the carburetor off yet again and see if I can get to the bottom of why there's not a lot of fuel getting in. I have ordered a new carburetor for this. It's coming directly from China. This engine was made in China. The generator was made in China. And a German company have slapped a badge on it. But anyway, I'm going to take the carburetor off and see if I can find out why there's not enough fuel getting through. I've cleaned out all the jets. I've got a little set of needle files here. You know, I've done that. The carburetor's spotless. The only thing that I haven't checked is that there's enough fuel getting through where the float needle goes in. So we're going to check that today. Luckily on these engines, the carburetor, taking the carburetor off, it is a piece of cake. I won't show it on video. Basically, you take the airbox off. There's two bolts, hold the carburetor on. Take the rod and the spring off at the top. The choke lever comes off with the carburetor, and that's it. It's off. So I shall get and take that off. And then I shall be back with you when we've got the carburetor off. And I've got proper power up here today, so we can have the generator's not running, is it? We can have the compressor running properly on proper power. I've got the heating going as well. I've just switched that off while I'm filming. But yeah, I'll get this carburetor off and we'll have another quick look at it. So I'll be back with you when that's off. Right, there's your carburetor. Not a lot to it really. That's your in, that's your out, there's your throttle, and this is one here is your choke. So I'm going to take the bowl off. Spotless in there. So there's your float. Fuel comes in there and around there. So I'm going to take the float off. So all you do is pull that pin out and lift the float up with the needle. Well, I don't think it can get any clearer than that. I don't know if you can see on here, if I'll be able to zoom in. This piece here is your main pickup for your fuel. So obviously your bowl's on there, it's filled with petrol. But when it idles, it picks up through. There's a little bit of a tube on the side here, don't know if you can see that, if it's picking it up on the camera. There's a tube on the side with a hole at the end. That's where it picks up for the idle speed. And then down on the inside of here, you've got some little jets that stick out in the side, like the venturi. So what I'm going to do is put the float bowl back on, the float assembly, and just connect it up to the fuel line and see what comes out. Alright, let's turn the fuel on, see what comes out. Right, that's all working as it should by the looks of things. Right, I shall stick it all back on now. It's quite straightforward. The hardest bit about putting this carburetor back on is getting the rod and the spring back on. Right, that was the easier bit. Getting the spring on is quite tricky because it's fiddly. But make sure it's hooked on at that end. Right, that's on. What a pain in the neck. I've got to get this the right way up now. Don't forget your gaskets. I normally put the choke lever on now because it's easier. And then I shall put the fuel pipe back on because that's easier to get to now. And we have this piece. This just goes on over the top of the carburetor. There's two nuts on the carburetor, but before we tighten these up, there is a bolt that goes in from the back. So always try and get all your bolts in before you tighten them up. I know it's common sense, but a lot of people overlook it. But I'll tighten the carburetor ones up first before I do the support one up. They don't need to go too tight. At the end of the day, it's a crappy Chinese engine, so just nip them up. And on this one, there's a breather that comes off the rocker cover. Just make sure that goes back in the airbox. And then this piece just screws in. I'm going to put this bit in, but I'm not going to put the air filter on because I might need to use some Start You Bastard. Or we might have fixed it and it might start and run normally. Who knows? Again, just nip these up, don't do them too tight. Because it's Chinese metal. I think they call it Chinesium. It's not the best. But then again, what isn't made in China nowadays? Now, I'm not saying that everything that comes from China is rubbish. Some stuff that's made in China goes through rigorous quality control and is fairly good quality. It depends on how much the manufacturer wants to pay the factory, or the brand wants to pay the factory for the quality parts. Right, well that's all back together now. I shall turn the fuel back on, just tidy my tools away, and then we'll see if we can get this started. Right, so here goes. Fuel's on. Give it full choke and let's see what happens. Oh, make sure it's switched on. Always helps. This time it's going to be as good as gold. Not going to go, is it? I'll just open the choke up, give it some Start You Bastard, close the choke. And when you switch it off a full choke, it starts cutting out like it's running out of fuel. Let's give it some Start You Bastard. Oh, it didn't do it so much today. When I tried that the other day, turned the fuel off so that it runs the carburetor dry, it was like, but, really messing about. Right, I'll get the air filter back on and we'll shut this one up for the day, I think. That sun's out now. God, dear. So that's the conundrum we've got. I can get it fired up with Start Pilot, Easy Start, whatever you want to call it. I don't like using this stuff. Takes me back to the days The very first garage I worked at, we had an old Ford A series, which is like a Ford Transit but bigger. Some of you older folks might remember the old Ford A series. It had the 6-cylinder 3.6 litre York diesel engine in it. Now I think when they came new, whether it was an option or not, they used to have an ether pump on the dashboard, because there's no glow plugs, nothing like that. They had an ether pump on the dash down by the gear stick. Now when the boss had bought that, I think it was ex-council and spent most of its life parked on the roadside. And I think he, for some reason, took the ether pump off. And we carried tins of Easy Start in one of the lockers. That thing would never start without Easy Start. Because it used to sit parked up for most of the time, you'd have to get in it, spray 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4, jump in, foot on the clutch, crank it, crank it, crank it. I might have told this story before. 2 cylinders, 3 cylinders, chugging away. 4 cylinders, and then it eventually get on to all 6 cylinders, but the yard you wouldn't be able to see because it was full of smoke. But that's my very first experience of Easy Start. It's not something you want to be using because engines can get addicted to it. Getting on this is just to prove the point that it's got a spark and it will fire up. Once I've used the Easy Start and it fires up, it carries on running, only on full choke. It did the same the other day, and we plugged stuff in, and it will still, work enough to generate power. But you don't have to be taking the airbox every time to spray Easy Start in there to get it started. Something's wrong with that carburetor. The fuel is coming out of the fuel tank perfectly fine. So all I can do really, I've already ordered a brand new carburetor for this. It was £12 off eBay with free postage. Hopefully that'll fix it. I won't do another video, but I will mention if the carburetor has fixed it. But let me know in the comments what you think it could be. It's not spark. I've put a brand new spark plug in it. It had an old crappy Chinese spark plug in it. I've cross-referenced it and put an NGK in it. It's got a cracking spark. That's all fine. It was smoking a bit. A lot of that is because it's on full choke, and the oil level was a bit high before, so I think there might be a bit of oil sort of in the exhaust pipe and stuff. That's just burning. The other day when we had it fired up and had it running for quite a while, the smoke cleared. It was not a problem, so I'm not too worried about that. It's just one of them bloody things, isn't it? So yeah, let me know in the comments what you all think it could be, and if this new carburetor does fix it, I'll put something in the community posts and let you all know that it's fixed and up and running. It'll be nice when we've got proper electric in the garage, but we'll get there, one job at a time. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a big thumbs up. That all helps the channel. The more thumbs up we get, it just pushes our videos up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And do come back for more of this random content where we do try to fix stuff. Oh, you wouldn't believe I'm a qualified mechanic, would you? It's just our luck. Anyway, from me and the Hobbit in the house somewhere, it's bye for now.